So next thing I want to talk about the storms are exactly how much more money can be made in a storm. And I think as new guys, you think, all right, there's fresh storm, like maybe people are a little bit more willing to sign contracts, but it's more than just that. First off, if there's been a fresh storm, people, trees are down. It was people heard the hail pelting their home all night. Like people know that there's damage to their home. They're ready to move. They're ready to get things done. That obviously makes it easier to sign contracts. On top of that, there's more to that. So first off, if you usually if you've got us and all of our competitors, we're going to head to the most damaged areas first. That's where the big money is, right? So getting a roof is nice, getting a roof gutters and sidings even better. So, when there's a fresh storm, you've got that center of the storm where you can get, basically jobs that are triple what they would be if it had just kind of been a regular size hail. So you want to head to the epicenter of the storm, work that as hard as possible. I mean, people are concerned. I mean, people there are thinking that they need to get things replaced immediately because it's there's holes in their siding, right? There's holes in their siding. There's damage that damage to gutters that's so bad that normal people see it. It's not this stuff that we're only a roofer would notice. I mean, this is stuff that you see it walking up to the door. You can see that it's been damaged. Those homeowners will legitimately if you show up day one after a storm, they will legitimately flag you down. They'll be ecstatic that there's a restoration person there. I mean, there's none of this knocking doors and trying to explain to people that a storm happened. Like there's people in the street trying to cut logs out of the street so that they can leave. I mean, throw a chainsaw in the back of your truck. Help someone out. You spend 15 minutes cutting a log for them. Now you got 5 neighbors ready to sign a contract with you. I mean, I've done that before, right? So I spent 15 minutes cutting up a log so that people could, leave their neighborhood, and legitimately signed all 5. Basically all the neighbors that came out as I was cutting up the log. Like, oh, hey, thanks for helping us out. Hey, by the way, can we get your roof taken care of as well with the storm? Boom, 5 contracts done. Single day. I think I had 5 contracts signed by noon on a Tuesday. How great is that, right? Those are the kind of things that happen in terms of signing after a storm. But the even better part about a fresh storm is the adjusters that the insurance companies send. So I don't understand this. I don't pretend to explain it at all. All I know is that it happens. And what you're going to see after a fresh storm is that the insurance companies are going to send extremely generous adjusters. So insurance companies that may have denied everything prior to the storm will now start buying things for you. The insurance companies that were buying stuff before the storm, where they would have paid $10,000 for a certain roof, certain damage before the storm, that same house, same roof, same damage is now they're giving you a loss sheet for $15,000 or $30,000. No explanation whatsoever. No rational justification for it. All I know is it happens. I can't. I wish I could explain it to you. It doesn't make any sense to me. That's all I'm going to say about it. So, trust me when I say that the contracts you sign right after a storm are worth a lot more than the contracts that you sign during during the downtime, right? So, whereas you might have had like a 60% buy rate before the storm. The same level of damage is going to give you like an 80 to 90% buy rate. Great things happen during a storm, and I mean this. I legitimately mean this. Like you have the opportunity to probably make right now we all have to make $100,000 here, right? We all have to make $100,000 in commission to stay here. You can legitimately go out and make 50 or 60,000 of that right after a storm in the month or two following a storm. Now, one thing we need to keep in mind is the expectations that I have set for you. Those expectations are day in, day out, everyday grind expectations. Fresh storm, no storm, I don't care. You can go out and you can do that day in and day out. doesn't matter, right? If I'm of the mindset that I want to spend as few hours working and make as much money as possible, right? So when a fresh storm hits, if you can, you should just throw those expectations completely out the window. Guys, like this is an opportunity. If you can set your life up this way, a fresh storm can be an opportunity to suddenly get 6 or 7 contracts a day, every day for 2 or 3 weeks, right? If you go out, you can do that. That means you're not just taking the leads that come in, because trust me, in a fresh storm, you're going to get enough leads to go out and probably close 7 contracts a week just based on the leads that are sent to you. The mistake a lot of guys make is suddenly, a fresh storm hits and all of a sudden you think, life is always going to be this good. I've done, for some reason, it's like sales guys think that, a storm hit and now something's changed about them and life is always going to be this easy. It's always going to be, my phone ringing with 3 or 4 leads a day to go out and run. And it's great when it's like that. It really is. The thing is, if you get a lead in the morning during a fresh storm, you go out, you run that lead, you should canvas everybody around that lead and turn that one lead into 3 or 4 other contracts. And then you go to your next lead, and instead of walking away with 2 or 3 leads turns into 2 contracts, now 3 leads turns into 6 or 7 contracts, and you've got yard signs, and you've got people calling you. The other thing about a storm is the way that you work a fresh storm is going to set you up for the rest of the year, because those contracts you sign today are going to be roofs that we install tomorrow, are going to be homeowners that are referring you to new people as the storm winds down. So, day one of the storm, we're all hitting the purple areas, but you're going to look at the map. Outside of the purple areas, there's the orange, the red, and the orange, where the smaller hail hit, and then there's the yellow, where it's kind of the small, even the smallest stuff, I guess. Life's a lot better when you're just being referred from customer to customer to customer, and trust me, guys, if you really hoof it, and guys, I'm not someone who is a big, I'm not a workaholic. I'm not someone who encourages, just always working harder. But after a storm, if you can use that say, if you can set your life up so that when a storm happens, I'm going to go out and I'm going to work every hour of daylight, because I can make more money in 1 hour right now than I'll be able to in November when the storm's over, right? November's going to come. November's going to come. Your bills are still going to be there, right? You still need to, you still got to get your $1 million this year. You've got to get your $100,000 in revenue. So, do you want to do it when it's easy, when it's just money coming in hand over fist, or do you want to do it when you have to kind of slog it out? Do you want November to be filled with referrals from what you did today, or do you want to go back to knocking doors in November? These are choices that you have to make. I'm fine either way. We're as a company, we're going to hit our numbers. As a sales manager, I'm going to hit my numbers. I know that. Question for you is, how do you want to hit your numbers? And guys, it's not about just always working more. I'm not trying to work more. What I'm saying is, 1 hour of work in a fresh storm is worth 8 hours of work after the fresh storm. So it's a question of, do you want to put in 1 hour of work or 8 hours of work, because it pays off. And so when a storm hits, you want to be prepared to drop everything and head there. I'm not, I've been doing this for a while. Not all storms are created equal. Some of them are small, they're not worth dropping everything. Some of them are worth dropping everything. At the end of the day, it's incumbent upon you to hit your numbers. Your job is hit your numbers. For a full year, that's $1 million. All right. For your full year, if you do $400,000 of that in the month after a storm, that's $400,000 less that you have to do in November and December. If you're kind of like me, maybe you're, I like to be hibernating on a warm couch when it's snowing, when it's, if the weather sucks, if people don't feel like buying. I like my life to be easy. I mean, I like to set my life up so it's easy. And what we're really talking about when a storm hits is, are you going to take advantage of things when they're easy? Because if a storm hits, it's, if you want to go out and just sign 5 contracts the week the storm hits, I'm not going to fire you for it, right? I'm not going to, we're probably all going to be so busy that I'm not upset. I don't care. But you now have to continue, you're still going to have to make 5 contracts a week when November and December comes. Or on the other hand, you can go out after a storm hits, take advantage of the fact that it's easy, and make and sign 6, 7 contracts a day. Sign 18 or 20 contracts in a week. It can legitimately happen, guys. If that's where your mindset is, that, hey, this week I can do 20 contracts, and those 20 contracts are going to make my life easier for the rest of the year. Because, guys, just remember, it's not just those 20 contracts, right? Because first off, if I sign 20 contracts in low storm time, right? Like if a storm hits in April, and I go out and sign 20 contracts, odds are, if it's a fresh storm, odds are I'm looking at probably a 90-95% buy rate. So I'm putting all those roofs on. On top of that, now I'm getting referrals from those. Those are going to pay off later down the road. And so now there's fewer doors that I've got to knock. There's, the other thing is those 20 jobs, they're going to pay more. So where those 20 contracts might have been, 12 or 15 bought roofs during slower times, now they're 18 bought roofs. Where they would have been $15,000 on average jobs, now they're $25,000 on average jobs. There's overhead and profit. There's, the insurance adjusters are paying for things, and I don't know why they're paying for it. Guys, weird things happen in the middle of a storm, and I don't know how to explain them, but weird good things happen in the middle of a storm. So, guys, I can't emphasize enough. Storms are where it's at. So, you can, if you just want to, 9 to 5, grind it out year round, by all means do it. But on the other hand, if you want the opportunity to make really big money really fast, if you want the opportunity to take 2 or 3 months off at the end of the year, storms are the option to do it. And I mean it. I haven't signed anything for the last 4 weeks. It's January. I don't care. I don't need to, right? Because I worked a storm, right? I worked a storm the way that I'm describing. So I basically have the opportunity, I have the option to just kind of ride out winter and wait till it's over, because I've stacked up enough nuts that I don't have to go out in the cold weather, because I'm weak, right? Fair. That's fair. I'm weak. I don't want to go out in the cold. Don't want to be playing on a cold roof. Don't want to wear gloves. Don't want to put on long johns. So I work my tail off. When a storm hits, stack chips, call it a day. It's up to you how you want to work. Guys, I've got guys out there that are signing contracts right now in the middle of January. Great, it's fine. You can continue doing that. I don't like doing it that way. I recommend working the storm instead. The last thing that I want to talk about, though, if you fall into the habit that a lot of roofing guys get into. So the habit that a lot of guys get into is, when a storm hits, it's go time, right? When a storm hits, we go out and we crush it. And that's 100% fine. You need to make sure, though, you need to understand, you can a storm hits in April, you could legitimately do $100,000 in commissions in the next 4 months, right? So you do all your sales in the next 4 months. That means April, May, June, July. You've basically got the lion's share of what you need to sell for the year in the course of 4 months. You can legitimately do that, guys. That's something that if you're out there busting your ass day in and day out, you can get that done in 4 months. You gotta watch your money, though. You've got to understand, what a lot of guys do. The easy time, and this ruins a lot of careers, and this is why I'm talking about this with you guys. So the easy time to make money is right there after the storm. Okay. The hardest times to make money are typically probably I'd say from November until Valentine. So Thanksgiving to Valentine's Day is probably, it's a little more challenging. It's not impossible. I would say that anybody that puts in 40 hours a week of canvassing is going to still sign 5 contracts, but it's rougher. So what guys do is you can easily make money during those 4 months. They get a giant amount of money. They start, you know, their bank account's full around September or October. Ton of money in the bank. Life seems really good. You stop. You don't feel that push to go out and sell. You don't feel that push to go out and sign contracts. Hell, I know guys that were $1 million producers by June of this year. I've got 2 friends. By June of this year, they had produced $1 million in loss sheets that they collected for the year. I mean, they still had to collect the checks, but they produced $1 million in sales by June. These guys, discipline, right? I'm not concerned about them. But that kind of gives you a sense of how much money you can make early in the year. If you let off the brake around September or October, September and October are still great months to be selling. Some of my best months have been September and October. If you let off your foot then, that means the revenue, the checks coming in, the commissions start falling off around October, November, December hits, Christmas time. You don't want to be in a pickle in January. You don't want to need money in January, guys. Like, this is so. Make sure. I mean, if you're letting your foot off the brake, if you've hit your $1 million for the year, I'm not going to ride you. But what I don't want to see is, I don't want you to overspend. I don't want you to basically get to January and be in a bind, because that's a hard time to go out and get contracts. I've got new guys that are signing contracts today, right? It's very possible, but it's not fun. I mean, especially if if you're experienced and you've gone through that grind, you don't want to put yourself in that situation. So just make sure if you make a habit of that I go when the storm hits. If that's your model, just make sure that you budget your money, because you don't want to be in a pickle in January. So that's kind of my advice. I'd like to keep you guys all around. I don't want to be losing anybody just because you had an exciting April, let your foot off the gas in September, and ran out of money in January. So just something to keep in mind. If you have any questions, if I'm happy to help with budgeting or management, or thoughts on what the year should look like. Especially as you're new, guys. Like, it might be hard to predict what things will be like. I hope you feel like I'm always trying to give you an honest assessment of what things are like. So I want to keep you around. If you have any questions, give me a call. We'll talk about this. But take advantage of storms, guys.